business at the front and a night out at Lassiter's at the back. I've just seen this brilliant advert for classic Neighbours episodes, and they've got how to do the big hair as the advert. And one of the things they say is, look at Shane, all business at the front and a night out at Lassiter's at the back. Yeah, this needs a blow dry if it's going to be Neighbours volume. Classic Neighbours, yeah. So I watched the episode with Lou and Annalise breaking up, which is probably like second generation Neighbours. That's not quite 80s, that's early 90s, isn't it? But it was great. I think they're all on YouTube, but they're also on the telly at the moment as well. But really what I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to do a little traditional vlog like I used to do years ago, where I just talk about what I've been reading, what I'm about to read, what I've been playing, and films I've seen. So what should we start with? Let's start with this fantastic book. I've just finished it. I've mentioned it before. It is Cleaning Up the Town by Claire Bueno, a cast and crew's memoir of Ghostbusters, forward by Ernie Hudson, Winston Zedmore. So I started reading this back at Christmas. It was a Christmas present to myself, and I've just finished it now in August 2026. And it's a beautiful signed copy. It comes with a bookmark and lots of stickers and a wonderful postcard of Egon there with his Twinkie, a wonderful comp slip. But despite all that, it's brilliantly written, and it runs like an autobiography, as well as the script for the interviews they did for the documentary, which I also have on YouTube, not YouTube, sorry, on Blu-ray. I'll just grab it quickly. Oh, excuse me. I have it here, I think. Yes. There it is. So that came first, and this comes to accompany with it. This was edited down for cinema release, and then this contains all the interviews that didn't, as well as everything in here and more. So everything that didn't quite make it into the documentary is all in the book. But more excitingly, I've been going to these Q&A events connected with Cleaning Up the Town, and it's called Who You Gonna Call Live, and it takes place on Zoom once a month. Last month they interviewed Mr. Cirillo. I think it's Tony. No, was it Tony or Joe? Joe Cirillo, the New York cop. He was a New York cop in real life, and then he later went on to play the cop in Ghostbusters. He also had a part in The Godfather, as well as Kojak. So he's worked as a New York cop, and then he's gone on to play the part of a cop in movies. He's 95 now, and that was a fantastic interview. I asked him the question, having been a cop in New York in real life and played a cop in Hollywood, is there a huge gap between the two? And he said, no, everything you see on screen in the movies from the cops is exactly how it is in real life. So that was probably the best answer to my question I could have hoped for, really. But this is absolutely fantastic. It follows Claire and Anthony's story. Anthony made the documentary. He's the filmmaker, and Claire also made it with all the administration, and she wrote the biography. What can I say, really? Yeah, it's an autobiographical story of their life making the documentary. And then you get all the scripts of the interviews as well in each chapter. And before each chapter, you get a little autobiography bit of what was happening and what they had to do to find the people they wanted to interview. And they interview pretty much everyone. Sigourney Weaver's in there. Ray Stantz is in there. Sorry, I always use their names from the films. Egon's in there, Winston's in there, and then most of the cast of the crew are in there. the creator of Slimer is in there. But yeah, do look for Who You're Gonna Call Live. It will be under Bueno Productions, and basically anyone can join. Tickets are varied. I think the cheapest ticket you can get is £15. However, anyone can ask a question, and you can do that in message live when the interview is happening, or you can go up onto the stage, as it were, and appear like I am now to ask your question directly to the cast and crew member. So last month it was the New York cop. This month it's Michael Ensign, the hotel manager in the film. But I can't recommend it enough. It's like having a little piece of Hollywood in your living room for the weekend and being able to interact with that as well. So that's going pride of place in my film studies section next to Claiming the Real. So this is a text from university. The documentary film revisited. Tokyo Story script. That one. Brilliant film, Ozu. And Dream Repairman, which I haven't finished by the look of it. Adventures in Film Editing. Academy Award winner Jim Clark. So that goes alongside the Ghostbusters. Cleaning up the town, remembering Ghostbusters. I'll put the link in the video notes, actually. So what else have I been reading? I've just started All the Light We Cannot See, which I've put down somewhere. This is one of my mum's favourite books, and she's been going on for years. You must read it, you must read it. I've read chapter 1 so far, and it's pretty well written. For Marie Law, blind since the age of 6, the world is full of mazes. The miniature of a Paris neighbourhood made by her father to teach her the way home. The microscopic layers within the invaluable diamond that her father guards in the Museum of Natural History. The walled city by the sea, where father and daughter take refuge when the Nazis invade Paris. And a future which draws her ever closer to Werner, a German orphan, destined to labour in the mines until a broken radio fills his life with possibility. Wow. In this magnificent, deep, moving novel, the stories of Marie Law and Werner illuminate the ways against all odds people try to be good to one another. So it's fiction, but historical fiction. And what else? I did start reading a Sharp novel, Sharp's Tiger. Now, I've listened to the audiobook of this. This is first in the run of Sharp novels chronologically, but it's not the first Sharp novel that was written. So he went back and wrote this, almost like a prequel in a way. It's incredibly hot. I've just realised I've got a cup of tea somewhere. What are we? 25 degrees in here. But I've just shut all the windows so the noise from the street doesn't come in, and now I'm absolutely gasping. Oh, that's better. Right, I've downed my tea. I'm also reading The Lord of the Rings. I'm always reading The Lord of the Rings. As you can see, I have a Lord of the Rings Leaf of Lorien tattoo. My uncle passed away last week, or a few weeks ago. We had the funeral this week, and he was a huge Tolkien fan. So I'm always reading this. I've always got a bookmark in this. I'd say he and my auntie got me into Tolkien in a big way. So it's a huge... They always had the calendars up in their house and Tolkien artwork on the wall when I went round there for a cup of tea. They were into Tolkien way before it was a movie, way before it was a radio play. I mean, really the first generation of hippie fans. Although they weren't hippies, they were from that era, the baby boom era. I'm currently on A Journey in the Dark, chapter 4. Which is, I think, where we meet was the Mines of Moria, isn't it? Before the Balrog, so got to crack on with that. I've also been reading, for what feels like decades, the final Sansom novel, Tombland. I think there's 7 in the series, and this is the last one. I've really enjoyed the previous books, but for whatever reason, this one I keep reading a little bit of, get distracted, forget what happens, and then go back to the beginning. But I may well try and finish that this weekend. I'm having a couple of days of reading, simply because I don't do enough, and I spend, well, it's been too hot really. The only thing I've managed to read this summer is The Midnight Train by Matt Haig. He's also written The Midnight Library. This is his latest one. This is absolutely excellent. If you want a quick summer read with nice big print, if you're going on holiday or not going on holiday, you can read this in about a day, maybe 2. It's not very long at all, and it's one of those lovely books like The Alchemist or The Notebook, or was it The Secret? I think it's one of those sort of books that really makes you think about life and what's important. It's a mixture of A Christmas Carol, Back to the Future, and a little bit of what do you call thrown in there? Richard Curtis. So it's one of those bestsellers that will probably appeal to a very broad audience. I also found my copy of the New York trilogy by Paul Auster, which I read at uni. We had to read it for a performance project, so we had to read this and then devise a performance piece based on it. It's lots of circles and notes and things. I'm going to go back and read that again properly, just as a reader, not as a student. I finished Hamnet. That was very good. I preferred the film actually to the book, weirdly enough. And I also reread one of my favourites, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. He was the winner of the Nobel Prize for Physics, in 1965. A unique character. His conversations with a friend were first taped and then set down as they appear here. An artist, safecracker, practical joker and storyteller, Feynman's life was a series of combustible combinations made possible by his unique mixture of high intelligence, unquenchable curiosity and eternal skepticism. This was recommended to me years ago by my Canadian friend when I said I didn't understand anything about science, and nor was I interested. So he recommended this book, and it's thoroughly entertaining. There's lots of physics in there, but there's not a lot of anecdotes in there, so even if you're not into physics, it's very readable and entertaining. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I saw Wet Leg live in Alexandra Palace in London. That's the second time to see them. I met up with old friends, and then I went out the night before and met some new friends at a karaoke place. So I had a really nice 2 or 3 days in London, something I wouldn't have been able to do a few years ago due to anxiety and things. So that was a huge achievement to go up to London again and just enjoy the best bits of the city. What did I do? I saw a film, Evil Dead Burn. It was so hot, I couldn't really pay attention to the film. I was just there to enjoy the air conditioning. And I think I slept through maybe at least a third of the film, just because it was so nice and cool there. If you're a fan of the original Evil Dead films, obviously it's not a patch on those. But if you like generic horror, it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. I was looking away a lot of the times. I haven't seen the previous Evil Dead movie, but that was a nice way to fill a couple of hours. I also saw The Odyssey. It took me 2 attempts. The first time, the theatre I saw it in was appalling. The audio was too high and I was too close to the screen, and the seats were shaking. So I left, got my money back, went to a different cinema the following day, which was like a traditional cinema. I could see the whole picture. They turned it down a couple of notches. In fact, the lady that runs the cinema told me they were playing it lower than the recommended audio because it had just simply been too loud for the audience. 2 hours 50, a little bit long for me, but I enjoyed it. I think it gets better after the first hour. The scene with the horse Trojan horse on the beach. As soon as I saw that, I just couldn't stop thinking of Planet of the Apes with the beach and the Statue of Liberty. So I kind of feel that's where they got that shot. I'll definitely watch it again. And I think it's good in the way it'll direct people back to the Odyssey who perhaps haven't read it. So it's good in that sense. But yeah, if you like big Hollywood stars on a big boat, this is the movie for you. And just finally, these are the video games I've been playing. So The Last of Us, just started a run of The Last of Us 1 and 2. So I've played Last of Us Part 1 before, but I'm new to Part 2. So I will be streaming those on Twitch. I've also really been enjoying God of War Ragnarok. That was lent to me by a friend. Very impressed with that one. Haven't played the previous one, but it hasn't mattered too much because there's a recap at the beginning. But that deals with all the Norse gods and myths, so that's really fun. Set in the snow and all these other wonderful environments. Played a fair bit of Tomb Raider, but got to probably about level 12 maybe and thought I'll have a break there. But it's very addictive. Still absolutely brilliant. The level design hasn't been surpassed. I will definitely go back to that one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my update. It's the middle of summer now. I've done all my sort of big plans for the year, so I've got nothing else booked. Wet Leg were amazing. I think that might have been their biggest gig yet. But yeah, do check out Cleaning Up the Town, Who You're Gonna Call Live, because that is open to everyone, and you get to join a Q&A with the cast and crew of Ghostbusters. So yeah, I don't know how much more to say on it, but that is as fantastic as it sounds. But thanks for watching. I was inspired to do this live stream by one of my favorite YouTubers who's been on here for years, since the year dot. Ryan Chattaway, a brilliant movie critic or movie buff in the States. He's just discovered streaming after years of doing videos and uploads, and he was on YouTube back in the day when we used to have such a thing as video responses. So if you watched a video, you could then film your own video and put it in the comments. And this was a brilliant thing for the community, and why they took it away, I'll never know. But that's probably the best era for YouTube, because the community was absolutely wonderful. We have that at the moment with Twitch. Twitch is very good for community, but YouTube sadly lost its community, I believe, when it got rid of that video response option. Because the wonderful thing about that is if you see a video you like, you can then make your own video, add it to the comments, and people interested in that topic then come to your channel. And I found that without that, I wasn't really getting as much of an audience. So now the audience is more general. You don't really know who your audience is. And back then, you knew, because you interacted with your audience a lot more. So anyway, that's pretty much everything for now. I'll take a breath. It's been 19 minutes. One viewer. Thanks for watching. That's all you know. Right, how do I stop this thing? Quick, call the floor manager. I think it's simply just X. There we go. Yes. Take care and bye for now.